Hello, listeners, and welcome to the episode 10 of the Changepreneurs. We are a team of coaches from around the world, bringing you conversations that spark change. Through this podcast, we engage with change makers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, sports icons, and individuals who have made a significant impact on the society. My name is Shrish Raj. I'm a life coach, and co hosting this episode with me is Coach Vanita, who's a senior life coach, executive coach, and a relationship coach. Hello, Vanita.
Hello.
Every man has but one destiny, and nobody can avoid it. This widely acclaimed quote, attributed to Mario Puzo, now the author of best-selling novel The Godfather, makes us wonder, wouldn't it be fascinating if we could catch a glimpse of our destiny? What if we could understand its path, navigate its twists, and prepare for what lies ahead? Today, we are honored and privileged to have with us someone who helps people do just that. Mr. G.Vijay Kumar, popularly known as the Honest Astrologer. Hello, Vijay sir. Thank
Namaskar,
you for
sir.
gracing our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's our
Such an
privilege,
honor.
sir.
Yeah.
Not only is Mr. Gaurav Vijay Kumar an acclaimed astrologer with a vast following, but he is also the best-selling author of The Bad Boys of Astrology. Beyond astrology, he is on a mission to empower lives through his passion project, the Honest Life Coach channel, where he blends wisdom, clarity, and practical insight to guide people towards real change. True to his name, and this is something which I have personally experienced, the Honest Astrologer is known for his no nonsense, straightforward approach to astrology, offering clear predictions without false promises. He believes in keeping remedies minimal and simple, suggesting them only when he genuinely feels they are necessary after analyzing a chart. So, without further ado, let's dive into this fascinating conversation with Mr. Gaurav Vijay Kumar, the Honest Astrologer. Sir, how and when did you realize that you had both a passion and talent for astrology?
Sir, I was a voracious reader around the age of 8 or 9. My uncle and my father used to practice astrology. My uncle was the first one who became. So I would take his books and read, and I made some random predictions, and they came true. And the word sort of got out, and my father told me, "Stop doing this nonsense. You are supposed to focus on your studies." But yes, I had a passion, so I would often on look at his books, and then he realized he is not going to give up so easily. So my father had a full-time job, a full-time corporate job. So Sundays people would come to him. He would do it as a charity for free, and I would be his peon and office boy and secretary and everything. So I'll just sit with him, and he would occasionally toss me a question. Why is this not happening in this chat? What's your take? That this is how it. Take it. And if you get it wrong, as a good Indian father, he would berate me in front of everybody. So I would, remember it for the next time. So that's how I sort of learned it. Then I would use it in my corporate job, icebreakers. What is one thing which is unique about you? I can read horoscopes. So that made me a little cool, but I never thought that I would get into this as a profession. My father never did it for money till the time he had a job. I never did it for money till the time I had a job. So that's how it happened.
So, Vijay, you consciously transformed, stopped corporate and came into astrology, or did it happen by chance?
Ma'am, it was destiny. If we go by planning, every Indian would be an IAS, right? Indian parents, they give birth only to IAS. It is we who fail them, right? So again, same story. UP born bacha, IAS bana types. And of course, that didn't happen, but I did my MBA, and I had a good corporate HR job. And then I went into something known as a Ketu Mahadasha. Okay. And I was about to, was put in a place where I almost had a heart attack on my shop floor. I was put under so much pressure, and then I decided, boss, no job is worth so much stress. Then I had two options. One, I could have taken another job, or I could have done something of my own. I used to do this again as a charity. I coined the name G.Vijay Kumar. Vijay Kumar is my father's name. So I sort of adopted it as a tribute to him. Gaurav became G, and the G is non-consequential. Today, I answer more frequently to the name Vijay than I do to the name Gaurav. That's how it happened. It was sort of a rebirth. And I wrote a few articles here and there. I had this domain, honestastrologer.com. So I would just write some article. I would write on Quora, and slowly people started to, know me. Used to do it for free initially, but then the volumes became unmanageable. So my mentor told me, either you do it for money or stop this nonsense. So I finally, kept my corporate training and other projects aside and focused on this. And today here we are.
Mhm.
And what's the story behind this unique brand name, the Honest Astrologer?
Okay, this one sort of, this has a sense of destiny to it. I have a ninth house Shani, so I am very, very clear about being honest or dishonest. So I have been accused of being blunt, but I've never been accused of being dishonest in my history. So it was, how I got lucky. It was 2016, just around the Geo boom. Yeah. So I thought I'm going to launch a website and do it as a charity to earn some good karma and take some time out of my life and do something which you love. So I was searching on GoDaddy. I was searching several names, and one of the names which I had in my mind was Honest Astrologer, because God knows there are very few of us in the business. The industry has sort of bad reputation. Thankfully, it's changing now. So honestastrologer.com was available. I was like, wow, nobody thought about it. Now here comes the most interesting part. Even the Gmail was available. Domain, at least you have to pay for it. Nobody thought of taking honestastrologer@gmail.com. I was like, let's go grab this one. Then I talked to a few friends of mine, and everybody was like, thumbs up. Especially shout out to my friend Saurabh. And he said, look, this name has something to it. Go ahead and launch this. So we took it, and it was launched on a day which was a Navami and a Dashera together. 2016 had such an auspicious day. So I am a Sai Baba Bhakt and a Ma Kali Bhakt. So it was a super auspicious day. So I launched it. I didn't know that this is how it would turn out, but destiny has its own.
Universe conspired to get you all this
Yes,
Honest Astrologer
yes,
name.
yes, yes.
So I also heard you speak about someone called your mentor. So your mentor said, so the mentor is someone who's taught you, I mean, helped you with astrology, or you mentioned your
No,
father
no,
was.
no, 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 no. She was more of a spiritual mentor, a 27-year-old doctor in Bangalore. And she was a very, very advanced spiritual seeker, and I had seen her chart for free. And then she was a very advanced spiritual seeker, and she said that she was my mother in some past life. And she had moksha yoga, and she was, associated with Raman Maharishi Wala movement. So she would cowify me like anything, and I would quake in my boots. A 27-year-old kid, but that's how things happen. You have that prarabdha karma with each other. So she was more of my spiritual mentor.
Okay. That's
So
so.
tell us a little more about Prabhat Karma. It goes beyond us listeners.
Okay, so there are four kinds of karma: drid, adrid, prarabdha, and kriyaman. Drid is a fixed amount of karma which is very, very rigid. No matter how many remedies you do, you can't change that. Adrid is something you can manage. You can maybe reduce the effect or even nullify it. So it's like non-fixed. Adrid means non-fixed. So that is where remedies come in handy. Drid karma, no matter how many remedies you do, the damage has to happen. Remedies can help you gain some fortitude. Prarabdha is the part of karma which is going to happen within this lifetime, no matter what you try. So that is called prarabdha. So that is something which is fixed when you are born. So that's prarabdha. So that's how it works. Kriyaman is something which we are right now doing. We are creating some karma currently, something which we are doing and creating right now. That's kriyaman.
So through all these, we understand that we all are going through certain difficulties or certain periods because of these karmas. So when you give us a remedy or you suggest a remedy, which part of these four is it kind of trying to
Nullify.
reduce,
Yeah.
nullify?
Mostly Adral karma and Kriyaman karma, because Prarabdha is fixed, right? You can't do much about it. Dhril karma is fixed, you can't do much about it. But I focus a lot on behavioral remedies, right? So I tell people, for example, you're going through a Shani Mahadasha. I tell them you spend 1 extra hour in office. I'm no Narayan Murthy, but I tell them spend some extra time in office. So that helps, because what it does it, you change your gear according to the kind of road you are going through. If it's a Rahu period, I tell them, boss, focus, 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 have gratitude. If it's a Ketu period, I tell them you can't do squat, take it easy. Whatever is happening, let that happen. So it is more like a Google Maps kind of a thing, right? Combined with your automatic gear adjustment. So that's how I suggest. Of course, if I see, let's say somebody has a Strisha, I tell them, boss, donate to women's ashram. Somebody has, some bad karma related to moon, I tell them to help some orphanages, so on and so forth. So it helps your Adral karma. Adral karma, it wouldn't change it, but it would let you have the fortitude to go through it. I usually give an example. Dhril karma is something which is going to happen. The difference between great man and a common man is how you react to it. So, for example, when Abhimanyu died, Arjun fainted, Krishna was still in his senses. Arjun got up and I'm going to kill Jayadratha tomorrow. And Krishna was, why are you saying all this? Why do you have to declare this? So that's the difference. They go through much worse circumstances than a common man, but they're able to maintain that clarity and strength. So that is what these remedies help you do with, provided you know which ones to do.
The non-believers of astrology, or even people, they often say that remedies are usually given by astrologers to make some kind of money. Do they really work?
Yes, they
What's
do
your
work.
experience?
Yeah. They absolutely work. I understand where they're coming from. I have a lot of clients who are IITians. You yourself, sir, are highly educated. I have scientists, I have AIMS doctors, professors as my clients. So gone are those days, that was the hangover of the communist era in India. But the problem is, in our community, the astrologer community, we throw a lot of fear at people. You get this puja done, otherwise you are going to get arrested. You get this puja done, or your daughter is going to meet with an accident. That doesn't work like that. So astrology, basically, what we teach in astrology, what we tell in the name of remedies, it's basically propitiating the planets. You do the mantras, right? You offer water to sun. I'm just giving some example. You go to a temple, you worship Shiva or you worship Kali, whichever your Ishtadev is or whichever thing you need. And we tell you to do some small charities which allow you to uh, nullify some of that karma. Let's say I have bad karma with women. I continue to make some donation in a woman's ashram continuously. Some of that karma would get nullified. Some of those blessings would come to my aid. If I, again, there are sattvic remedies and there are tantric remedies. I never suggest tantric remedies, because in those remedies you try to force yourself on nature. Let me ask you a question, and this was a question my uncle asked me when I was, I was reading his books, and there was a tantra book which I picked. Imagine 9-year-old nephew running with a tantra book. So, because on those days you didn't have Amazon and all. You would go to Haridwar and buy an entire bundle. So all sorts of books would come. So he said, "Do you know what this is?" I was like, "I don't know, but this sounds very interesting." And he said, "Look, this is a tantra book. I don't want you to try anything in it." He had seen my chart. He knew what I could do. I was like, why? And then he said something which might be politically incorrect, but being honest astrologer, I have to tell this on a public platform. He said, have you ever seen a good-looking tantric? I was like, no. And he said, have you ever seen an ugly astrologer? I was like, nah, most of them are at least cute, if not very good looking. At least they have some dignity. And then he taught me this principle, and I'm still thankful to my chacha for that. He said, look, in astrology, romance nature. Right? What do? You feed ants, you feed birds, you donate to orphanages, you put water in some plant, right? You donate some money to a sadhu, you donate some food in a langar. So those nature blesses you back. So you have a certain glow on your face. Tantra, you deal with dark energies. So when you are dealing with those energy, nature hits you back. The first thing you do is you start to look ugly. Then you start to lose your family, and then all the horror stories that you might have heard, those things happen. So they had this commitment from me at 9 years of age that I'll never go to that side, and I'm so thankful to him today that I never even tried a single thing. So I strictly stick to the Sattvic Vedic remedies, which absolutely work. Uh, I'll give you a simple remedy for your viewers. There is a simple mantra for moon, Om Som Somaya Namaha. Okay. No matter how upset you are, you take 4 or 5 hours, go to a Shiva temple or a secluded place, preferably on a Monday. You chant this mantra 11,000 times. Maybe over 2-3 days, you watch. You will have a very, very calming and clearing effect in you. That's it. And you know you guys are life coaches. I don't need to tell you what goes around comes around, right? That's a
Definitely.
funny way of saying karma exists. So if you are doing charity, if you are doing the right things, if you are doing the right conduct, good things happen.
Actually, I like the part where you said that chanting it this many 11,000 times will make your mind calm.
Yes.
And it was not about everything will work wonderfully well for
No.
you. So when you are prepared, then you're able to handle everything.
Yeah,
That is the.
because at least, if let's say a drill karma has to happen, if I have to fall and get injured, I can sit there and cry like a baby, or I can maybe pick up a phone and call an ambulance and save myself.
Hmm.
That makes all the difference. Damage will happen, but how you react to it, that you control. So most of these remedies, either you get good in, or you allow that mantra to vibe you with a certain kind of energy which protects you or gives you the right kind of thought process.
Hmm. Maybe somewhere it is more of even, it involves even psychology where you make yourself strong to get through these tough
Yeah,
periods, right?
let me give you another example. Okay, you take a person, put him in a room, show him comedy movies. Okay, take another person, put him in a room, show him horror movie. Then switch off the lights, tell them to go to the washroom.
I get it.
Right? He primed the mind.
I can remember. Yeah, Exorcist movie के बाद कितने लोग.
Yeah, so it's light and sound, same place, same thing. One person might be laughing in the washroom. Other something khadak goes is like there is a spirit behind. Right? You prime your
Or
mind.
probably he might not even go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you
He'll be so scared.
might not need to. So you prime your mind by chanting a particular mantra. You prime your mind.
And taking the remedies forward,
Mhm.
stones, I'm also wearing
Yeah,
once. The role of
I'm wearing
stones
four.
for remedies.
Stones, sir, stones are the steroids of remedy. Yeah. I have done all sort of nonsense in my life, and why I come from a Six Sigma background. So they gave us the concept of null hypothesis. Do not believe anything. Judge everything if it works or it doesn't. Uh, I was in my Ketu Mahadasha and everything was going wrong, and I was very, very upset. And one day I was so angry, I took off all my gemstones. And my father told me, you are going to regret it. But you want to take pangas with your Six Sigma thing, go ahead, do it. Next 2 years, I got hammered. And then finally, I called up my father, boss, I need a new emerald. I've had it. So it was like, okay, let's restart all this. So after wearing an emerald, and I'm wearing two, and these are very costly stones. If they wouldn't work, I wouldn't be spending money on them, right? If a planet is good in your chart, you wear a gemstone, it gives you the color of that particular gem, right? So for emerald is for Mercury. Mercury's color is green. So this thing emits all the green light on you. So let's say it's your lucky color. So it is giving a laser-like focus of that color in your body. Yeah. So similarly, this is a red coral. So red is for this thing. So it gives its own power. But gemstones cannot be worn just like that. People call me, I need a 6 degree ka neelam. I'm like, are you sure you want this? I'll sell it to you. I can make a profit. But the repercussions that would happen, I don't want any part of it. So are you sure you want? And then, you have people writing anything over the internet. Internet is too much of a democracy in my view. If you are undergoing a Rahu Mahadasha, we are a Gomed. Yeah, we are a Gomed and go crazy. People call me, I was in Ketu Mahadasha, I'm wearing a cat's eye. I'm like, if you want a divorce, go ahead. So they boost the planet. So you should wear only for those planets who are really good in your chart. If the planet is bad, Shani, Rahu, Ketu, 99% people should never even touch a Neelam for Shani or Gomet for Rahu or a cat's eye for Ketu. Not at all. So these are very, very strong things. In medical terminology, the closest thing is steroids. You take steroids when you absolutely need it. Yantras and Dan, mantra, you can do it for anybody. They can never backfire. They are like homeopathy, wala goli. At best, they'll treat good and they'll treat you, and there is zero side effect.
Hmm.
So gemstones, you need to be very, very careful.
And should be taken with proper prescription like steroids
Absolutely,
from medicine.
absolutely.
So, Vijayji, I see that you have around 15,000 followers on online, and then around, I must say, even for horoscope reading and all, there is a minimum waiting period of a month, and
No,
I think now
it's
it's 2 months.
actually no. It's running around 80-85 days.
So many days.
Yeah. So
So
60 to 90 rehta hai. So, in the 80s, it's usually.
so right from 2016 to today, where you are,
Yeah.
tell us what it took
Okay.
for you to come here.
A huge dose of luck. When I started honestastrologer.com, Geo happened at the same time. I was writing on Quora. Then one day, and I don't take credit for that, one day I got up and I had an idea. I wrote an article on Ketu Mahadasha. Within 3 days, it went viral and reached Google first page. And with the kind of calls I was getting, I had to hire an assistant because I couldn't manage the volume. And then we had to, increase the waiting period because I don't run, that 10-minute Maggie wala astrology, right? You pay, you call, okay, tell me about it, do this, blah, blah, blah. I do every chart after a proper homework and I do it with all my heart. So I do 5 or 6 charts in a day. So people started to pay and the waiting list kept growing. I don't charge a lot of money. I'm like one of the cheapest people in my league, which you will get. Because I wanted to reach out to a lot of people. I can make it like 3 times the amount and maybe take 2 charts in a day and happily spend my time. But I want to be available to a maximum number of people. So Google ranking, if you Google Ketu Mahadasha, my article will come amongst the top 3 searches. Rahu Mahadasha top 5, Shani Mahadasha top 5, Google first page. YouTube bus I missed because I was very shy initially, very, very camera shy. Shri sir knows this. And I didn't want to do a face reveal. My cousins were shocked to see me on YouTube. My friends were shocked to see me on YouTube. My ex-teachers, they called me up. If I would have taken YouTube in a 2020 or even in a 2016, it could have been, 100,000 or something. But no regrets. It is growing slow because I do not give a Nimbu mein long gaal ke you become a billionaire kind of a remedy. I'm pretty logical. So my clientele is very, very, very intelligent. So YouTube, I haven't grown that exponentially. My growth engine was driven by Google. After that, YouTube, I get like 20, 25 usually in a day. If we do some very good video, we get 100 subs a day. So that's how it goes. So a lot of destiny, some really, really good ideas, right timing, the grace of God. I would put it like that, especially Ketu.
I would say you are a very modest man, Vijay sir. I've had the opportunity of interacting with quite a few of your clients, and all of them have spoken very highly about your skills as an astrologer, but you as a person also. So, would you attribute this honesty, transparency as the reason behind this popularity that you have, or it could be something else?
Sir, a huge dose of luck. I don't claim to be the best in the business. I cannot read a proper Sanskrit sentence. And
Mhm.
I come from a corporate background, a guy who never read BPHS, जो हमारा Bible है, which is the Bible of Indian astrology, Brihad Parashar Hora Shastra. I purchased it, read it once, first chapter, I was done with it. And I was like, thank you, Dad, you taught me all this without going through this heavy duty books. And I kept my approach very practical. Uh, I will take credit of two things. One, I have always been honest. If I can't read the chart, I tell them, boss, this chart is not making sense to me. Here's your money. Go back. So I think I'm the only one who gives them money back kind of thing in astrology. Second thing, I come from a real life experience. I'm not someone who was sitting in a temple with a big tika and 20 Rudrakshmala around my neck, and I'm telling people how to manage their corporate life. No, I've been in the trenches. I've worked 18 hours a day. I've written my UPSC exam. I have had my issues in the family. I have suffered through the corporate bureaucracy. So I have that real life experience. So, 50%, 60% of it is you guiding them as an elder. You, sir, you would know what a difference it can make. So there are people. So for example, there are people who resigned from a. I just had this chat with this girl. She had resigned from a government job and was planning to do an MBA. I was like, "Are you crazy?" She was like, "They haven't accepted my resignation." I'm like, "Go back, sweetie. AI is eating up the kind of jobs you're aspiring for. By the time you take your cat, you graduate, and you come out after with a 30 lakh loan, the jobs you aim for might not exist. What are you doing?" Helps me. And if there is something which I don't know, I tell my clients I don't know. And I never give them false assurances. Okay, I'll do a puja for 1 lakh and you will get a government job. No. I tell them, if you are coming to me and asking for if you will get a government job, default answer is no. So that honesty and real world experience, and most of all, when you care for the client, it has to come from here, right? You have somebody who has lost his job, is down in the dumps, and you have to cheer him up a little. I know he's not going to get anything for next 1 year, but then what is he supposed to do? The guy is in depression, is sort of drinking himself to an early death or something. I tell them, look, this 1 year, nothing much would happen, but this 1 year you can spend with your children, and you can go to the gym, you can shape up your body, and that body will help you for the next 10 years when you'll be running in your career, maybe working 18 hours. So that real world exposure and caring for the client, I think basically it comes to, I have a cancer moon, so I care. Cancer The motto of a Cancer Moon is I care. So I care for my clients as if they were my own children. So I would go and tell them, somebody is, my girlfriend left me and I feel so bad. And I tell them, boss, romance is a scam. Yeah, I have a theory around it. Romance should have a tagline saying, ruining marriages since 1594. Yeah, 1594, I think, is when they wrote Romeo Juliet, and then all this Shiri Farhad, Laila Majnu, everything was written around that time. Before that, you will not find any one-to-one love story. So that is part of the things which I plan to teach in life coaching, because these things have been glorified beyond a point. We tell our children, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब, खेलो कूदोगे होगे खराब. So if you study very hard, you will become a big man. If you will play, you will be rotten. And we are the diabetes capital of the world. And IT coolies. Thank you, boomers. So you have to care very passionately and deeply. I tell people, stop listening to your parents. Ninth house Shani, don't listen to your father. Fourth house Shani, stop listening to your mother. Seventh house Rahu, don't bow down to your spouse on everything. So I have to tell that. There are times when I have told people to move out of the house or move out of an abusive marriage. So when you care so much, I think they feel it. So that compassion, that care, that passion has to be. I think that is.
Okay. Uh, you mentioned you seem to have so much knowledge about all the horoscopes and all. Yet you said there are some horoscopes which you are unable to read or you cannot read. Where is that coming from?
80% of such horoscopes, they fall into three categories. Either the timing is wrong. Okay. I've had this experience many, many times. I tell them, boss, this horoscope is. So I do a 5-minute pre-check. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. If it's 80% accurate, we go forward. If it's not, I give a refund and end the consultation. So at times they're like, no, this didn't happen. So I was like, take a refund. No, let me check with my mother. They'll come back next day. Sir, you were right. My time was this. Okay, this happened. Yes, sir. This happened. Yes, sir. This happened. Take it. Other two charts, one is where there are a lot of planets in one house, 4 or more, very, very difficult to read. And then there is the astrologer's nightmare, the Lagna Sandhi chart, where the entire chart changes in 5 minutes. It's like a tipping point chart. So it's, one part Taurus, one part Aries, one part Pisces. You just can't make it out. So these are the charts. Rest, it's very, very rare. You are not able to.
You talked about, the cute-looking astrologers, and you also mentioned you are not the ones sitting in the temple with a tika.
Yeah.
And obviously, you look more like an army personnel than an astrologer. And though you are cute-looking, I must admit
Thank
that.
you.
So, what apart from the physical attributes or physical way you carry yourself sets you apart from different astrologers in the market?
I think one, that corporate ruthless, fact driven approach. Because if it is written in some chart, if it is written in some book, if this planet is sitting here, then this would happen, this is Rajyog. If it doesn't work in the real world, I refuse to use that. It could be written in BPHS, it could be written in any other book. If it is not working in real world, to hell with it. That's one. So if it works, it works. I take it. If it doesn't work, I don't care which astrologer wrote it in which book. I don't give two hoots. So in Six Sigma, I'm trained in Six Sigma quality concept. So we have a system called gauge RNR, repeatability and reproducibility. So if I learn something, I have a collection of 20, 50, 30 horoscopes. I have my WhatsApp groups. And I said to them, look, this is my theory. What do you guys say? Does this work? And then it sparks a flood, right? And at times you come up with some really funny observations which are not written anywhere. So that experimental mindset helps me a lot. For example, people with a heavy sun Okay, try this one. People with a heavy sun would use phone pay a lot, UPI. People with a heavy Shani will use GPay.
Acha,
Yeah,
this is very surprising.
yeah,
I think I must try.
yeah. You go ahead. Go ahead, try this.
What do
Yeah.
you use actually,
I
Vanita
use
ma'am?
I use GPay, so I'm like, oh my
So
God, correct.
because Shani people love GPay because of its complexity and attention to detail and security. Sun people are easy going. Yeah, let me put some money in that UPI light and just get over with it. I'm a phone paper. So you
Okay.
observe those things. So when you observe, you come up with a lot of things. So uh, you have to maintain that data. Is it repeatable and reproducible? So thanks to my corporate training, I have that. Second thing, when you are dealing with astrology, since your childhood, you sort of make friends with the planets. You refuse to let them be painted in black and white. There are various shades of gray. There's the dark side of Shukra, there's the good side of Rahu. So, and I wasn't inundated with a lot of Sanskrit words, thanks to my father. He would tell me, look, this is how it happens. And as a child, you have that fluid intelligence. So that comes in handy. And yes, I have an inquisitive mind. First house Mercury, so helps. And yes, a lot of blessings, of course, a lot of blessings. So some of the sutras I just accidentally discovered, and they were nowhere. And they become sort of your trade secrets and things which make you special.
So I'm just curious, is it that every time you have some difficult time in your own life, then do you kind of take out your horoscope, look at it, and then kind of
Oh
find
yes,
something?
oh yes, oh yes. No, I don't find something. I tell in advance. I tell my wife, hey, babe, this month we are going to fight. So most of the times, yes, if there is something which comes out of the blue, I wasn't expecting, then I'll go and look why on earth did this happen, and if this happened, did that happen to other people? Then I'll call up a few of my friends whose charts I've memorized, and then I'll see is this a pattern or I am an anomaly. If I'm an anomaly, it's an outlier. Then I don't consider. If there's a pattern, what is science? Science is pattern recognition. If there's a pattern, okay, bingo, got another technique. So usually I know what's coming. So for example, when I was uh, in trouble in my job, I had told my wife, and she was like, "What will happen?" I said, "Look, I am not worried about 2015. I'm worried about 2016. 2015, I got another role. It was very comfortable and all that." And she was like, "What can go wrong?" I don't know. And she was like, "Don't worry, God will do the one thing." I'm like, "This is what I'm worried about. God is about to do something." And I had to resign from my job. So with a change in management and all that happened. So you see things coming, you are mentally ready for them. That's one of the perks of being an astrologer. So it's all rubbish. You never look at your chart. I think everybody looks at their chart and they become expert on their own charts. And then they try and apply those things to other people. So I don't believe in this theory. I look at my own chart a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this bestseller book that you authored, Bad Books of Astrology,
Bad
Bad
boy.
Boys of Astrology.
Yeah. Uh, these were my notes. Okay. When I had launched Honest Astrologer and I was into blogging, and I, as you know me, I have this fascination for complicated characters. I'm more of a Joker guy than a Batman guy. So, and one pattern which I very, very strongly noticed, 90% of the people who would come to me would be in a Rahu Mahadasha, Ketu Mahadasha, or a Shani Mahadasha, or their Antardasha. So I was like, if I grab hold of these three, and if I learn about them, if I'm able to cure the problems that they are sending, I can actually make a difference. So you come to me in a Ketu Dasha, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was Ketu had just finished and Shukra
Dasha
had
Sandhi.
started.
Yeah, Dasha Sandhi. So
Yes, indeed.
that is when I started doing research, because these were very feared. There's a lot of fear mongering. And you take the name Shani, people would quake. Ketu, nobody knew much about it. There was only one good Ketu Mahadasha video by E.K. Dilip Kumar Sahab. Shout out to him. It's like a mentor. Uh, but barring that, there was nothing much. So I took out my notes. I had some inspiration by the grace of God. Wrote that article. It went viral. Then again, Rahu, I had an inspiration. Wrote that article. Went viral. Shani Mahadasha, I had to work. Shani will never give you anything easily. So Rahu Ketu are inspiration. Shani is preparation. 2.5 years and I think 5, 6 diary notes. And I still carry them. Just I'm so fond of those diaries. And those were my notes which I had put online on my blog, and I had other things. And since I was a voracious reader, and when you are a reader, you always want to write a book. So then there was this Amazon Kindle, where you can just upload it, and it would become an ebook, and you can have bragging rights. I'm a writer. So I just got a freelancer to design the page, and I uploaded my notes. It was my birthday, and I had my father do the click. Okay, Dad, you go ahead. And even the back, the book carries his photograph. It's not my photograph. We look so much alike, but it's his photograph on the back of it. And it was my dedication to him. So I had uploaded it. I was like, maybe 3, 4 friends would buy and everybody would forget. But I had a happy birthday and I made my father proud. But it suddenly took a life of its own. And before I knew it, I just made an announcement on my blog. I didn't even have a YouTube channel back then. So I just uploaded it, announced on my blog, and it started to sell. And then the word of mouth reviews, the more the people would write the reviews, the better it would become. And suddenly it was a sensation. So there were much more experienced astrologers, people whose books I have read, and I've sold more books than they have sold. It was just out of the blue, a happy accident. But yes, there was very authentic research behind this. Because I will take one planet, go to everybody I know personally, look at their chart, see what that planet is doing, make my notes. Then I'll go to the other planet. So it wasn't done on the charts of Amitabh Bachchan's or Narendra Modi's. I haven't used celebrity charts. I don't use celebrity charts. It was done knowing my friends, my family, my very, very close clients whose lives I know intimately. So they come from real world data, right from the trenches. So street creds is what led to that thing. Practical, 100% practical. No bookish nonsense.
Now that you mention, I'm just curious as to why you never have made any of those political predictions or predictions on celebrities, elections, and all these current affairs.
Yeah. One thing I think, I'm not trained on mundane astrology. I don't plan to do it. So, individual astrology, look at individual charts. Mundane astrology, you predict world events, celebrity charts, and all that. I don't predict world events. That is not something which interests me. I'm more of a people's person, Cancer more. I think this TV astrology has done more harm than good. And the biggest example is that India-England final match, cricket match, World Cup wala. And they had these 5-10 astrologers, big tripunda, big malas and tikas and all that. One was even blowing a shank. All of them predicted India would win, and India lost. I had posted next day on my Instagram, Karwali Bejati. So again, the point is, if you don't know if your art is working, you have no business going out and bringing disgrace to astrology. Astrology is my mother, feeds me, my family. So anybody who brings disgrace to astrology, I just get very angry. So either you do a good job with it or you stop doing that. I think most of the people doing that should stop doing that, because there are only two kinds of prediction. One, one particular party is going to win every election. Okay. Two, India is going to win every game. Otherwise, this is generic prediction. Some world leader would die. There are so many of them. Most of them are old. Somebody has to die. There would be flood and natural disaster. Tell me one year when there were none. I mean, with all due respect, we couldn't predict the pandemic. My community, right? We couldn't. I couldn't. So people made fun of us. So we had to go through it. We have to take it on the chin, honestly. But we couldn't. So mundane astrology, I haven't seen it work a lot. I don't plan to train on it anytime soon. Celebrity horoscopes, most of them are fake. Imagine you are a politician and your real chart is in the market and your opposition is sitting there waiting for your Ketu Dasha. And then they unleash the agencies or their media handles behind you. So these people, they usually never share the actual birth details. They have their own Raj Jyotishis. Those are the only ones who know the real. Okay. So I don't have any big politician as a client. So a few politicians, yes, MLA level, but no minister or somebody. Let me be honest. Same goes for Bollywood. Okay, they will never share their charts. I have some Bollywood people, of course, client confidentiality. I cannot take names. Most of them have thrown a decoy chart in the market. Right? So they will never let the right thing come out. Now, then there are people who have done PhD on those charts and keep predicting whatever. So earlier, before social media, nobody would get caught because it came on TV for 15 minutes. People forget about it. Now it's a clipping you can't run away from. So I have never made a prediction about any election or any celebrity. I do not plan to do that. And then I have no business predicting about chart of somebody who's not my client. Even if I have the chart, by what right do I have to say the XYZ person is going to have a downfall? That's sort of, I feel a little uncomfortable. These are the two reasons I do.
I'm just curious, you mentioned, so anything that comes to mind which was very funny, or rather, where you mentioned something, the client must have said, I don't think so, I'm actually in the dumps or something. And then immediately at that set time, something big and wonderful happened. Anything like that coming
Yeah,
up for you?
yeah. So this thing, I remember a client from Dubai and father and son together, and they were discussing this horoscope. And he was like, when will he get married? I was like, sir, there are chances of a love marriage and the timing is going on. No, he's a very obedient boy, no such thing. How can you say that? Got offended South Indian. I was like, sorry, didn't mean to offend you, but this is how it looks. So it may fructify in a manner that you take him to meet a girl, he might like her immediately. So people, let's say somebody has a love marriage yoga in Afghanistan, that is how it fructifies. Yeah. So I was said, but he's going to get married. The time is on, don't worry. 10 minutes later, the son calls me from the parking lot. Sir, you just called, talk to my father. I was like, okay, so what? Sir, promise me you will not tell me. Actually, I got a marriage in court done last week. My father does not know about it. If you tell him, he will kill me. Sir, I was like, boss, thank you. You validated me. Don't worry, I will not tell your father. So things happen. It's funny. At times people say, I don't see anything coming. I'm so down in the dumps. It's like I'm under a train. And I always ask them, did you see the train coming? No. When the time comes, the second train would appear. You don't worry. So the best part of astrology is you are able to give them some hope. Times keep changing. So half the astrology is just convincing them you soldier through so many months or so many years, then good times are ahead. That's half the remedy. There's something to look forward to, because when everything is crashing down and you can't believe what's happening to you, and suddenly somebody tells you, okay, 2 more years, keep going. So at times you have to be the cheerleader. I never leave my client dejected. I always leave them a little pumped, a little cheered up.
You talked about the funny stories. So, do you happen to come across difficult clients also?
Oh, yes. Yes. Uh, there are times when people want to hear what they want to hear, and they won't take no for an answer. And sir, you know me, I'm very blunt. So, and they typically fall into two, three categories. One is government job aspirants. So tell them why not happening. How can you say that? I will show you. Fair enough, show me. I'm like, if you clear a government job exam, I will be happy to send you a gift more than the fee which you paid me. Then there are people who want their biases confirmed. My father has been my guide. I'm like, you have a ninth house Shani. If you listen to him, you will ruin your life. How can you say that? I'm like, go back, think about what has happened. But my father trusts me. I'm like, he is putting his ambition on you. Which is the child who has more fun? Okay, that's my younger brother. You are the workhorse. And father or mother, they plan to make you work and give the rewards to the other child. Beware. So at times they get offended. 3 months later, they'll call me, sir, you were right. You know, my father wrote a will and this is what he did to me. I was like, good morning. Told you so. Then there are people who are very motivated, and especially, sorry, the current crop of youth with their YouTube motivation is ridiculously motivated. I will become a billionaire. I'll show you. I'll visit you in my helicopter. You bloody boomer. I'm like, boss, I'm a millionaire. At least you want to speculate in share market and become a billionaire. At least guess my age right. So at times you get those uh, government job aspirants, movie wannabes, politicians. They can't take no for it. Very, very difficult to convince those guys. And they'll try to, put words in your mouth. So I understand that, I empathize that, but I have to give them a firm no. Okay, if you want to spend another 5 years for a government job, it's a very bad. You go get a job, then you can try. But don't quit your job and try and go for an IAS, UPSC thing. You'll waste 5 years and a lot of money. So it's difficult to say, but I have to say that.
So I also heard you talk about Mahabharata, Arjuna, and also who's your favorite character from Mahabharata?
Okay, so Krishna is Krishna. Okay, he's beyond
Shri Krishna.
everybody, so we'll not count him in human one. I am a worshipper of Yugandhar Krishna. I don't get into that Radha Vallabh or a Laddu Gopal. I'm more of a Mahabharat guy. So if we keep Krishna away, then there is a character which is very close to my heart, which is called Vikarn. People don't even know the name. Vikarn was the only person who stood up to Duryodhan and Karn and company when they were humiliating Draupadi. And he stood up saying, shame on you elders and shame on this house. And he took a very strong stand, but Karn ordered him out. By the way, I consider Karn a villain. So, disclaimer here. Then I consider Duryodhan a dark hero. He wasn't a great man, but he was a man's man. Okay? People often blame him for a Draupadi Chirharan that was ordered by Karna. I tell people to go back and check. A lot of friends had this fight with me because India has a fascination with Karna. He comes across as a heartbroken guy who was denied his birthright. If you actually read the Mahabharata, he comes across as a sore loser. I love Arjuna, but Arjuna is pretty white. Duryodhan is grey. His claim to the throne was justified, if you ask me. He was the last of the Kurus. Pandavas, hypothetically speaking, weren't born out of Pandav. Weren't born out of Pandu. They were sons of Kunti and Madri. They weren't sons of Pandu. They were maybe son of Bhimdev and son of Indradev or Vayu or whatever. They were not Kuru bloodline. Kuru bloodline was Duryodhana. He was the actual son of Dhritarashtra. So his claim was more than justified. And on top of it, there were, especially when the war starts, Kauravas come across as underdogs. So then again, Vikarn has a very beautiful episode with Bhim. Bhim is on a rampage and he is killing all the Kauravas and he is about to reach Duryodhan. Vikarn comes. And he is a very normal guy, not a fighter like Bhim. And he was like, Bhim, I cannot let you go to Duryodhan. And Bhim was like, I would have to kill you and I do not want to kill you. I remember you stood up for us that day. You did the right thing. He said, that was my dharma that day. Today I am fighting to defend my brother. This is my dharma today. He fought Bhim and Bhim killed him and then Bhim cried. Only time when Bhim cried. Bhim didn't cry when Bhishma died. Bhim cried when Vikarna died. So that was the real Dharmaraj. And Duryodhan, again, there was a time when Ashwathama wanted him to, patch up. And he said, maybe this was possible few days ago. Now with so much blood between the two of us, their blood and my blood, even if I keep the kingdom, what would I do with it? I have to die and show my face to all those who died for my claim. I'm not going back. That's not a good man, but that's a man's man. Then in Gada Yuddha Parv, Yudhishthir almost threw it away. He said, pick anybody and fight that person. If you win, you get everything. He could have taken Nakul Sahadev, he would have just slapped them to death. Whom did he pick? Bhim. And Krishna said, Yudhishthir, you threw this war away today. There is no way Bhim none of you Pandavas can beat him. And you are very lucky he chose Bhim. Because he is Duryodhana. So, and he was a man's man, not a great man. Mahabharata, barring Krishna, they say they are darshaniya, not anukarniya. That you can look at them, but you can't learn from them. But he comes across as a dark hero. Like I said, I'm more of a Joker guy than a Batman guy. So, these guys were amazing. Then there is a character called Susharma. He took the Samastak oath. And, we don't even know these names. He said, Arjun humiliated me in the past. In this war, I will not let him enter the Ranbhumi. I and my people are going to keep him engaged. Now, going to fight Arjun was a death sentence. So these guys did their own Anteshti before going to the war. And they, did their own last rites. And it was the first suicide squad ever created. So this was the kind of brave people we had. And Susharma died fighting valiantly. Then there is Uttar and a lot of those people. So how the things fluctuate and it's such a mess, and how they all try to live up to what they've done. So these 2-3 characters are pretty close to my heart.
Moving beyond astrology now, sir.
Yeah.
So, what drives the passion behind Honest Life Coach?
Okay. Sir, I have been a victim of the Matrix. You have seen that Matrix movie, I believe, right? All of us have seen. I grew up with a lot of false notions. What we call Maya. Okay. So, in India, the problem is if it is in Sanskrit, it has to be true. Somebody said Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. We all started Balle Balle Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. And we had to suffer. Because most of our Janta is thinking about the afterlife. Okay. Jagat is Prakat Brahma. It is the physical manifestation of Brahma. What is Maya? Maya is not this cell phone. Yeah? Maya is the false notion I have about this cell phone. If I think this is not a cell phone, this is a laptop, or some Chinese company is trying to listen to me as if I am the Prime Minister, that is Maya. The unreal notion about the reality. So when we Indians are born, we are given a big dose of study hard, you will get ahead. schools are, the temples of knowledge. They are slave factories. And, a good man has to make all the sacrifices. Why? So that the bad people can take everything away. I was a very, very good guy, and one day I broke down. I cannot share the personal details, but it was a day I felt I've lost everything. And I am a guy who worked really hard. All those 18-hour shifts and multiple courses, and doing LLB with a full-time job and reading in your company car, and all that, you do all that, and then everything collapses. You are the greatest son ever born, and then everything collapses. You make all the sacrifices, then everything collapses, and everyone is unhappy with you, personally, professionally, everywhere. And I was like, boss, this is not right. This script doesn't work. So as every good Indian, in order to gain my peace of mind, I went into depression. So first thing I took was I picked up a Bhagavad Gita, couldn't make head and tail of it. It's very complicated for me. Then I picked up Mahabharata, and I was like, wait a minute. This tells me a different way to live. This tells me a Mangal way to live, not a Shani way to live. That's the way of men. And then, sir, I grew these. Okay, this is the prasad of Mahabharata. And I had to put up a strong front in front of all the authority figures. Started with my parents. So I told them, boss, you guys are right here, you are wrong here. This has to stop. I am no longer the Shravan Kumar I used to be. If you are wrong, I'm going to call you out. With all love and respect, my parents, but that was the time I took that stand, and I'm happy. And now they agree you were right. It took them 10 years to convert, but they agree, yes, you were right that time. And then I realized how Indians are being manipulated. Matrix, 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 everybody is shouting, especially those Andrew Tate followers. One, Andrew Tate is a joker, is teaching toxic masculinity. Second, the Western matrix is Rahu Shukra. Indian matrix is Chandra Shani. A billionaire comes and tells, you should work, this is, the youth should say, this is my country, I will work 70 hours. Private company. How would it help India? It would help your company. And when his grandson is born, 251 crores, so that he never has to work 70 hours. So a different set of rules when they preach, and a different set of rules for themselves and their own people. So I could see through the matrix, and it took me 5-6 years to put everything together. And then I started to teach my son, my elder one. My younger one was too young, and my elder one was so sweet, and he is a very sweet bacha. He's a Sant Yoga in his chart, and they had given him a nickname Jalla. Right? Jalla means stupid. So he would do all the stupidities, and he was trying to make sense of the world. And one day he was very angry with me, and he was crying and all that. And I said, look, come with me. And I have a Cancer moon. I love my sons, and he has a 9th house Shukra, so his father is like a Rakshas Guru to him. So I took him out. I told him, look, bache, there are laws of universe. Okay, things don't work. You can't just will something into existence. If you are not worthy of something, you are not going to get it. There are ways to get it. And there are a few things which you can do. There are a few things you can't do. And then he started to listen to me. Then after a point, I was very, very clear about his physical fitness. So I carry my heavy vested body with all my diseases. I was like, you have my DNA. The best thing you need to do is you need to work out. And I sent him to a open air gym and a karate school. And he developed, by the grace of God, he developed a good body. And then he kept coming to me, Papa, tell me more. You know something, tell me more. And whenever there's a conflict somewhere, he would come and talk to me. Because I think we fathers have to be more open. Women do a better job with daughters, dads do a bad job with sons in this country. So when he started learning everything, and I would never ask them what happened in school. I would always ask them, what did you do at the gym? I am arguably the only Desi father who never asked his sons what happened in the school. And my younger one is more brainy and he's like, why do you never ask about school? Why are you so obsessed with gym? I said, every joker goes to the school. Very few go to the gym. And those who go to the gym aren't jokers. So they started to get the hang of it. Then I started to teach them that, hard work is not everything. You cannot hard work your way into success. You have to be more of who you are. You are given a certain set of talents by nature. Nature versus nurture, nature would win every time. No matter how much you train a fish, it won't fly. As an astrologer, I know this. You go to an accounting department, you see how many heavy Virgos are there, how many Sun Shani combinations are there, how many Shani in the first people are there. You go to a medical school, find out how many heavy Scorpios, heavy Mars, and 6th house Shani you have in a medical school. Awesome majority. You look at a man with Sun in the first and you ask him, do you want to run a business? Answer would be yes. Works. So you have to be real about the reality. So we have a very distorted reality, there are a lot of isms. Somebody is a leftist, somebody is a rightist, somebody says, if you just worship, everything would happen. If that worked, all the pandits would be ruling the world. If only worship would lead to success, no. If only hard work would lead to success, daily laborers would be ruling the world. The key to success is not hard work, it's good decision making. I learned it very late in life. I've taught my son. How to make decisions, nobody taught us. Our teachers will say, you don't work hard. Parents will say, you should work harder, as if it ever accomplished something. Go ahead, work for your 90 hours a day. So the reality, your reality is not real. The script that has been given to a normal Indian bacha is rotten, and I want to change that script. That's the whole point. You had this thing called Matrix. There was this punchline. What if your reality is not real? What we
Genuinely,
think
yeah.
our reality, it's not real. So I got unplugged from the Matrix. Now I am the bloody Morpheus of the Desi Matrix. So I am out to teach people how to get out of it. You have to be authentic. You have to be who you are. And once you know who you are, and once you know how the world works, there's no stopping you. Yes, your destiny will have a certain limitations to it. With all this knowledge, I know I can't become a billionaire in this life, and I'm okay with it. But I live a good life. I do what I love. I do what nature helps me with. I'm very clear on certain things. I have my own code. I know how to raise my boys. Ma has been very, very kind. So this knowledge, my elder son was after my life, Papa, you should go and talk about this. So with him beside me, I launched that thing. So I've never exposed my children to social media. I don't think I would. But yes, I would give credit to my son Aryaman for this. And he was after my life because he became a coach to few of his chelas in his school, and he's the mentor there. So he realizes the power of it. And when you see a young boy, a 16-year-old, behave so confidently and so clearly, it tells you this is work. So we need to teach all this to our children, and we need to call a spade a spade. Our schools, with all due respect, whatever I am today because of my teachers, my mentors. But when you go to a school, 80% of people who are teaching in schools, this was their last preference. I might get hate for it, but that's the truth. India should have something like an ITS, Indian Teaching Services. You put those guys in school. Anybody who can't do anything starts teaching. That's the sad reality. And you put those young minds under those people, and they do all the damage. Then you have these movies telling them, again, Shiri sir, I hope I'm not going on and on. I'm a little passionate about this. So let me know if I'm.
Please go ahead. Complete.
So, if you remember those 90s wala movies, the Hero of the movie is the poorest, most uncouth, dumb as a ass, and would harass the heroine. And the rich heroine would fall in love with him, will come to his kachi basti. You know, all those Mithun Chakravarti, Amitabh Bachchan, Jackie Shroff kind of things. And the most rational, rich, successful guy is the villain, whose daughter runs away with this useless hero. What are you teaching your youth? Money is evil. Rationalism is evil. Love is everything, romance is everything. Poverty is very good. Le lo poverty. How much poverty do you want? The people who know the reality, they tell their children, don't watch this nonsense. Rationalism is the way to go. So what they teach their children, I want to teach people at large. There's a different set of rules, something that Nietzsche called the slave mentality vis-a-vis the master morality. So that's
Statement.
how I want to liberate people from the matrix so that they can go and live a good life. That's my mission. As an astrologer, as a life coach, that's how I plan. I have
Wow.
reformed so many broken-hearted, broken ashik lover boys. I can't tell you. I have an entire army of those guys. Yeah, once they realize that they have been fooled, they become different people, and for better. Not in a woman-hating way, but more like life is much more than the drinking yourself away for your lost love. This is what Devdas teaches them. No?
Wow. I must say, Vijayji, we started from what made you start this journey, and then we traveled through your mentors and Mahabharata and so many other things, fan following and funny moments, funny incidents which you've seen. And we are almost at the end of our session today. So, is there one message that you wish to give to all of our listeners today?
Yes, there are two things which I tell people. One, you have to be more of who you are. You cannot be transformed into somebody else. That's not happening. There are people who suck at math and they are sitting in a bloody engineering college because mata pita ka sapna, right? So one, you have to accept the reality. Things don't work like that. I have a client who was in an engineering college and then he rebelled, went to a different university and got a gold medal in English literature. Imagine a guy failing 3 years in engineering college, sudden gold medal. So nature has created you a certain way. You cannot be, modified into something else. So you have to be more of who you are. You need to know your strengths, stick to them, work on them, and do what you love. Do what nature created you for. Your entire being would resonate with it. You'll have fun. You might not become very rich. A writer might earn less than an engineer, but he'll definitely earn more than an unemployable engineer. And second thing, get real. Know how the real world works. Get out of the matrix. So you have to be yourself and you have to know the reality of the world. So they say the truth shall set you free. So know the truth about yourself and know the truth about the world. And the truth shall set you free.
Wow, an enriching evening, I must say. Sirish and Vijay, it's been a wonderful. Thank you, Gaurav Vijay, for honestly sharing your views and insights with us in this podcast. Thank you, Shirish Raj, my fellow coach, for co hosting this podcast with me today. A big thank you to all our listeners for tuning in and patiently listening to this podcast. If you find value in this episode, then please hit the like button and follow Changepreneurs for more such exciting conversations. See you next time.